Well, we start off with breaking news coming in now. News from neighboring Sri Lanka. In latest inputs coming in, sources suggest that Ranil Wickremesinghe, outgoing Prime Minister, likely to become the President of Sri Lanka, even as Gotabaya Rajapaksa news coming in that he has fled the country, he has fled to the Maldives. And he arrived, as the various news reports suggest, early this morning at around 3 a.m. local standard time. The 73-year-old, it says, reports suggest he arrived in the capital of the Maldives, Malé, at around 3 local time. And his departure ends a family dynasty that has ruled Sri Lanka for decades. Gotabaya Rajapaksa flees in a military jet, it is believed, to the Maldives. Just hours before, he was all set to resign and step down from his position as the president of Sri Lanka. So breaking news coming in now. A dramatic twist in the Lanka story. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa flees to the Maldives. It is said he fled in a military jet and is in the Maldives now. We're trying to get more details about where exactly Gotabaya Rajapaksa is headed. President Rajapaksa had been in hiding after crowds stormed his residence on Saturday. And he had been in hiding after crowds stormed his residence on Saturday. Joining us on the phone line from Sri Lanka is our correspondent Saloni. Saloni, breaking news coming in. Sri Lankan President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has fled Sri Lanka. It's just hours before he was set to resign. But give us more details. When did this happen and what happens now? And where exactly is he?
According to the reports, Rukma, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's wife and 2 bodyguards left abroad at Sri Lankan Airport plane bound for the city of the Mail, the capital of Maldives. According to an immigration official who spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the situation, he told us that the Sri Lankan President Gotabaya has landed in Maldives. This Wednesday he has to resign, but then sources said this morning he has arrived in Maldives, capital of Mal. Quoting Maldivian sources, they said he has received Maldivian government representation at the Vilena airport last night. Earlier Monday night, Rajapaksa and his brother Basil, also Sri Lanka's former finance minister, were turned back at the Colombo airport as they attempted to leave the country amid powerful family for mishandling the worst economic crisis. As of now, this is said that Gotabaya is in Maldives. He has to resign today itself. The protesters are still protesting. The president's house is under their control and they are demanding resignation unless he resigns. They'll not leave the place. They have already given warning to president and prime minister. So as of now, the situation is worsening in Sri Lanka. The socio-economic conditions are already bad and Gotabaya has fled to Maldives. Yes, Rukma.
And meanwhile, what has been the reaction of the protesters? We believe that they have responded strongly because, well, news has gone down across the country that he has fled.
Rukma, there is no official confirmation on Rajapaksa's departure from Sri Lanka as yet. The protesters must not be knowing the situation, but then Monday night, when the former finance minister and brother Basil, he was trying to flee from Colombo airport. The protesters attempted to turn him back. Amid mounting anger against the Powell family, they attempted to turn him back from the Colombo airport, and that's why you can say the protesters are already rage with anger. The situations in Sri Lanka is not well at all. The crisis is going in a very bad situation. It is worsening day by day. But then the protesters still are not knowing the fact that Rajapaksa is in Maldives. However, they knew that Rajapaksa has been kept on a naval base. That is what they know. When this news will spread up, I'm sure the protesters anger will already be in a bad situation, and the family has to see some more consequences, because all other brothers of Rajapaksa and the cabinet who has already resigned is still in Colombo. Yes.
Right. Saloni, we believe that there are protesters both inside the president's residence as well as at Galley Face Green, which is one of the main protest sites. And that, well, news has come in of his having fled. Are you getting anything from your sources at this point? It's still very early in the morning, but in hours from now, he is expected to resign. He was expected to resign.
He was expected to resign, and he has promised as well, Usman, to resign today itself, because the protesters has already made clear that if he will not resign, the protesters will not leave the Prime Minister's house, or whether you can say the President's house. So he has to resign. He has given himself 13th, the day today, Wednesday. He has already declared that he will resign, and most of all, Vikram Singhe will be, handling the situation in Sri Lanka, because on 20th there will be elections. There will be elections for Rashtrapati, you can say president, and then the situations will be in control, as the Sri Lankan people are hoping for it. But then still the protesters are protesting on the president's house and everywhere as of now. But then the current situation is mass protests are going on because of the economic crisis overall Colombo. But this news is like for people it is very disheartening that when he has to resign, he has fled with his family to Maldives, and he's having fun there. He's already been charged for hello.
Yes, news reports suggest that it's an attempt to protect himself from being arrested by the new administration. There could be a lot of developments, Saloni, as the day progresses. In fact, well, this is the first bit of breaking news that expected by many. But when we talk about, the road ahead, you're in Sri Lanka. What is the actual situation there? If you're in Colombo, is there chaos on the streets? Are shops open? What are you seeing around you? So breaking news coming in now. Gotabaya Rajapaksa, president of Sri Lanka, flees the country. He's fled to the Maldives in a military jet, even as protesters continue to occupy the presidential palace. Gotabaya Rajapaksa flees Sri Lanka just hours before he was set to step down from his position. News reports suggest that the 73-year-old arrived in the capital of the Maldives, Male, at around 3 a.m. Maldives time. And his departure is virtually an end to a family dynasty. Could this be the last straw as far as the family dynasty that has ruled Sri Lanka for decades is concerned? Already his brother Basil Rajapaksa has already fled the country. Gotabaya had been in hiding since crowds stormed his residence on Saturday. He had earlier pledged to resign today. That's the 13th of July. Meanwhile, news reports suggest that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe could take over as the president, although previously there were other names as well doing the rounds.